the sixth episode of the Happiness Project, and I am your host, Rena Jain. Thank you for tuning in. I want to give you some wonderful news about my podcast. My podcast is now widely available across 8 plus platforms, including Google, Apple, Spotify, Stitcher, Radio Public, and many more. And since you guys have been enormously supportive, my podcast has listeners from across the globe. Thank you all for making it reach to so many people and so many places. Please keep sharing your learnings and experiences of how my podcast has transformed your life in every little way possible. Last week I'd mentioned about inviting a couple of guests over on my podcast. So without any delay, let us now take the privilege to welcome Dr. Rohit Jain, who is a practicing physician and a recognized specialist, also an expert at understanding the relationship between what we eat and the way we feel, that is, nutrition and mental health. His exceptional vision and the ability to provide insights will inspire each one of us to look at the familiar in new dynamics. In my experience with the doctor, I only remember him as a person who influences people to live a healthy way of life. Let us now welcome a very rare combination of a doer and a doctor who celebrates his choices with pride and excellence. So, how are you, Dr. Rohit? It's been a while since I've had an informal chat with you. It's so good to have you here.
Hello, Rena. Thank you for having me here. And yes, it has definitely been quite a while since we had a chat. And I'm extremely glad we are doing this. All thanks to you.
So, Doctor, there's a lot of discussion going on around this topic of whether what is the connection between mental health and nutrition.
So, I have always been interested in the way diet affects our health. Most people think diet affects an individual physically and are not aware of its effects it has on mental health. Today, we break the myth.
Yes, that would be wonderful. Our listeners would like to know about how certain foods affect the way we feel and how one should avoid certain food items as it affects our mental energy. There's a list of questions that I have with me right now. How about we start off with understanding the association between nutrition and mental health?
It is said that as you eat, so you become. This is because the kind and quality of food affects the physical as well as mental condition of the individual. Thus, the individual who does not take a proper diet and who does not have a proper understanding of the principles of eating, he gradually begins to harm himself both physically and mentally. He begins to feel the ill effects of wrong eating habits on his appearance, thinking, mood, behavior, thought, and also on action. So let's first understand what is nutrition and what is mental health. Nutrition is the study of nutrients in food, how the body uses them, the relationship between diet, health, and disease. Nutritionists use ideas from molecular biology, biochemistry, and genetics to understand how nutrients affect the human body. Mental health includes emotional, psychological, and social well being. It affects how we think, feel, and act. It also determines how we handle stress, relate to others, and make choices. Mental health is important at every stage of life, from childhood to adolescence and through adulthood. Over the course of your life, if you experience mental health problems, your thinking, mood, and behavior could be affected, and nutrition plays a vital role in it. If we are well fed, we are happy and brain functions smoothly. But what if we are hungry and haven't eaten our meals and our blood sugar level drops? We feel tired, irritable, and our thinking is clouded. Let me tell you how hunger mechanisms impact how we function. If you're hungry, have you ever felt a harder time remembering things? There is a simple biological explanation for this. When your body is priming itself for eating, It doesn't want you to expend unnecessary energy in intensive activities such as thinking. So, when you're hungry, you're more likely to feel unusually confused, forgetful, edgy, and angry.
Oh, yes, I've actually felt that a couple of times. When I'm hungry and I haven't had my meals, I tend to get angry or irritated. So, this is what hangry means, right? When you're hungry and then that's what makes you angry.
Yes, exactly. This is what hangry means.
So, you're not you when you're hungry.
Yes, exactly.
So, what you're saying is that one needs to be mindful, right?
Yes, I suggest that by simply taking a step back from the present situation and recognizing how you're feeling, you can still be you when hungry.
Tell me one thing. Um, why are diet plans unsustainable? Why people can't keep up to it after a certain point of time?
So, when people decide to go on a diet, they automatically feel they are depriving themselves and their bodies of the foods they want to eat. And do you know what makes them feel? Miserable. Well, first off, the diet has the word die in it. That should be a huge indicator that they fail because their body is not getting enough fuel it needs to think properly and optimally. Diets create too many restrictions that take a toll on person's mental state, leading to increased emotional eating and therefore increased calorie consumption. Diet creates an unhealthy relationship with food, and as we know, negative thoughts lead to negative behavior. They fail because they concentrate too much on diet and less on the diet lifestyle changes. The majority of the diets require an extreme reduction of overall calories. Physiologically, this puts their body into a starvation mode. The lack of calories needed to support normal daily functions leaves them in a catabolic state, forcing their body to use muscle for fuel. This will lower their overall metabolic rate. The decrease in calories will also cause many to have headaches, mood swings, and fatigue due to metabolic imbalances. Physiologically, headaches, mood swings, and fatigue are challenging enough, but most diets are also set up with unrealistic, all or nothing meal plans. A list of bad versus good food starts to consume their daily thoughts, leading to cravings and binging. The diet mentality is one of a temporary fix for long term results, when in fact a temporary fix leads to a temporary weight loss. Once you return to a normal diet pattern, the weight returns, setting up feelings of failure and possible emotional eating. You see how all these pave way for failure? This is the reason why 2 out of every 5 people on a diet quit in the first 7 days. Only 1 out of those 5 end up going strong after a month.
Oh, yes, that makes so much of sense. Um, so, how do you suggest to make them last?
You cannot expect to change all of your eating habits overnight and expect the changes to last. Instead, make small changes. The diet industry offers a short term solution to a chronic problem. The act of weight loss is not the goal of health. Instead, health is achieved using quality food, consistent exercise, stress and time management, and fulfillment techniques, with weight loss as a side effect. Once you accept that weight loss is not the result of a quality lifestyle, you can begin to form your own diet. Most diets fail because they aren't individualized. In my practice, I customize diets not only based on my client's health goals, diet history, and genetics, but also on their lifestyle. Many diets are too restrictive and not sustainable in the long run. Lastly, weight goals are not always realistic. If a client comes to me to see me for weight loss, I ask them to focus on eating healthier to improve their mood and energy levels as opposed to focusing on a specific weight goal. The payoff in terms of improved mood and energy is more immediate, which in turn is more likely to lead sustainable improvement in their health and diet. For true weight loss to be achieved, you must set realistic goals that work well with your lifestyle. I suggest a balanced diet and lifestyle modification.
And how do you achieve a balanced diet?
See, the food we eat is divided majorly into macronutrients and micronutrients. Macronutrients comprises of proteins, carbohydrates and fats. Micronutrients comprises of water, vitamins, minerals. A balanced diet is where you receive a bit of all these in the right proportions.
What do you have to say about coffee?
Well, coffee has caffeine in it, which means it will give you a quick burst of energy. However, this will last only for a few hours and it will leave you drained and low all the more, which will make you go for another cup of coffee. And this cycle continues. It's a never ending process, which keeps you wanting for more and more.
I think, there was a time when I couldn't imagine myself without a cup of coffee. I know what you mean now. So, where all can we find caffeine? In what all beverages?
Caffeine is found in tea, coffee, chocolates, cola, and other manufactured energy drinks. You might feel noticeably better quite quickly if you drink less caffeine or avoid it altogether. If at all there is a need, keep it limited to 1 cup a day at a time where your energy is mostly drained and you need a quick boost to keep going.
Yes, that quite sounds like a practical way to go about with it. Also, what do you have to say about all of these fad diets that people are following these days? The keto diet, the Atkins diet, the cabbage soup diet, the detox diet, and there are many more to name. Do you recommend any of this?
The diet industry always offers short-term solution to chronic problem. With all the fad diets out there, people do not know which one is the right one for them. We tend to forget that the most important things are right amount of meal, healthy eating, and being physically active. So balanced diet and lifestyle modifications is the way. Consult your dietitian to find out what kind of lifestyle changes would be best for you with any other conditions or allergies that you may have.
So, what is the right way to do it?
There are a lot of things to keep in mind. Meal planning is the way to go. However, people claim that they do not have the time for it. Changes to eating habits require a lot of time. You can plan healthy meals and divide everything up to the right size portions. Take 1 day a week to plan your meals. To cook it, divide it up into portions. You can make smart purchases of products which are already divided up into portions, such as single serve almond pouches, yogurt cups. This makes it easy to grab and go. Cook all the meals on the same day. Many people don't stick with their diets due to the time it takes to make the right food and the prices healthy food costs nowadays.
Our listeners would love to know if you have a special diet of your own.
Yes, it is the yogic diet. It is based on yogic and Ayurvedic philosophy. There are three qualities of all things in nature. Number 1, Raja, which means hot, spicy, and fast. Number 2, Tama, which means slow, lethargic, or bland. Number 3, Sattva, which means purity and harmony. These three qualities are present in all things, but in different amounts, making one quality dominant. Let's see each one of these individually. Rajasic foods are hot, bitter, dry, salty, or spicy. They overstimulate the mind and excite the passions. In contrast, tamasic foods are bland and include meat, alcohol, tobacco, garlic, onions, fermented foods, and overripe substances. Then comes Sattvic. Sattvic food is the purest diet, the most suitable one for any serious yoga student. It nourishes the body and maintains a peaceful state. This, in turn, calms and purifies the mind, enabling it to function at its maximum potential. A Sattvic diet will ultimately lead to true health, a peaceful mind in control of a fit body, with balanced flow of energy between them. Sattvic diet foods include whole meal bread, fresh fruit and vegetables, pure fruit juices, milk, butter and cheese, legumes, nuts and seeds, sprouted seeds, honey, and herb teas. Personally, I refrain from dairy milk because I disagree with the way it is obtained, and I'm fearful about unknown hormones and additives. I choose to substitute this sattvic food with a milk alternative like coconut or almond milk. There's a saying, the lion is a great meat eater and he's called the king of the jungle. But no animal can match the elephant, a complete vegetarian for pure strength. Meat is avoided in yogic diet.
Why does the yogic diet avoid meat?
It has its reasons. Let me explain. Fear of protein deficiency is meat eaters' main objection to a vegetarian diet. Yet ironically, meat eaters obtain the worst quality protein from their food. Protein that is dying or dead. Animal protein contains too much uric acid and other toxins to be broken down by liver. Some are eliminated, but the rest are deposited in joints and tissues, leading to problems such as arthritis or cancer. Uric acid is a toxin that also makes it harder to reach the higher, clear meditative state because it is an irritant in the bloodstream. Meat is also among the greatest sources of cholesterol, which contributes to heart disease, hardening of the arteries, and senility. Meat takes 3 days to pass through digestive system. For optimum health, men need to digest food within 24 hours and women within 18 hours. So generally these are the reasons meat is avoided in the yogic diet. You can go for protein from alternate sources like nuts, dairy products, leafy green vegetables, and legumes which are full of high quality protein. The main residue is cellulose, which is inert and does not pollute the body. It is readily digestible, utilized by the body quickly and efficiently.
And what is the role of physical fitness in a healthy lifestyle?
Exercise is very important for your weight loss, but it should not consume all your time or money. 1 day a week, set up your exercise plan for the next 7 days. Try to incorporate into your daily life so that it isn't hard to keep up. You don't need expensive equipment to give you a good workout. You can use your own body weight or things around house such as canned foods to exercise with. Give yourself a rest day with exercise so that your body can recover. This doesn't mean you can sit around all day. You can still be active by moving around the house or running for errands.
A lot of people that I know are very calorie conscious. How can we manage that?
Don't focus too much on calories. Counting calories can be one of the most frustrating and difficult things for someone to do. While it is important to decrease the number of calories that you are eating to lose weight, it is more important to be able to consume the appropriate nutrients that your body needs to work properly. You should be aware of the calories that are in your food, but do not let that be your only decision maker. When you don't eat enough calories, you lose lean body weight, not body fat. This happens because your body goes into starvation mode and holds on to fat. Losing this lean weight, which is popularly known as muscle mass, slows down your metabolism and prohibits you from shedding the pounds. Cutting too many calories also decreases your energy and may interfere with your ability to exercise. It may also cause you to binge eat after a long day.
Okay, okay. Um, but how do I manage craving? Do I get to treat myself once a while?
Yes, definitely. One should always have a cheat meal. What is your guilty pleasure? Mine is peanut butter. If you deprive yourself of what you love, you're going to become very angry and miserable, as I said before. Always allow yourself a treat once in a while. You deserve it. Just make sure you have a small amount of it. So here's about craving. When you eat junk food, your body releases dopamine and the body experiences pleasure. Our body likes to feel this way, and so it begins to associate food with pleasure. Eventually, you start to crave it. Find alternative choices that are healthier for you. Dark chocolate is better than milk chocolate. Also, yogurts now come with many different dessert flavors. There are also flavored chewing gums, which can help hit the sweet spot. One rule I personally follow is 1 hour rule. If you have a craving for potato chips so badly, just wait 1 hour. That should give you enough time to sit back and think about whether you really need them or is it just an impulse. This way you can beat your cravings.
Oh, yes, now even I am going to follow the 1 hour rule. And yes, we've spoken about a lot of things today. Can we just summarize it all for all our listeners?
Yes, let's just sum it up. We have been through quite a lot today. So, here are a few quick tips which could be very useful for you. Choose organic food whenever available and avoid caffeine, tobacco, alcohol, and artificial sweeteners. These substances are not healthy for the body and alter the mind, making it more difficult to concentrate on the divine. If possible, always prepare a fresh meal. Frozen, prepared, packaged, and leftover foods should be avoided, only taking in the freshest and the best. Look for average calories to be consumed according to your height and age. If you train your body to eat at regular times, say at 10 am and 6 pm, it will better utilize its energy throughout the day as it anticipates intake of calories at these times. Avoiding food 2 hours before exercise or sleep helps the body function at its best capacity. Ensuring proper time for digestion before sleep helps to keep the mind clear. I recommend you fast at least once a day in a month. It can include water or fruit juices or a strict fast with just water alone. You can consult your dietitian for a meal schedule and follow it regularly. I'd finally like to say that if a routine of balanced diet and lifestyle changes are made, it would be helpful for long-term goals, which is always our priority. I chose the yogic diet because no other way is so aligned in sync with physical and mental health goals as this one is.
Thank you so much, Rohit, for such a wonderful session today. Your words have been quite enlightening in terms of understanding the correlation between nutrition and mental health. I'm sure many people recognize the healthy way of life, but many people also do so blindly without understanding the science behind it. Let's say, for example, when you spoke about why one should avoid eating meat, and you also scientifically explained what kind of process takes place within our body. I hope now, after having heard this episode, people make some wise choices for themselves, especially choices that align their mental and physical health and choices that have long term effect on their lives. Once again, thank you so much, Rohit, for being a delightful guest on my show.
Thank you once again for having me here. You could always feel free to contact me on my email listed below.
Thank you for joining me this week on the Happiness Project. Stay tuned and make sure you never miss a single episode of the show. This podcast is made possible by listeners like you. Thank you for all your support. And if you like this episode, please share it with as many people as you can. Because sometimes all it takes is one push for someone to transform their lives. Let this podcast be that push. Thank you and see you next week.